Shai is playing basketball at another level. It's hard to believe at one point he was just an add-in for a massive trade involving bigger names like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. People called him a good player, a promising player, a player with potential, but that's it. Nobody expected him to become the superstar he is now. It's a shame the nickname Maple Mamba was taken by Andrew Wiggins, because it would have been the perfect nickname for Shai. He went out and joined Michael Jordan as one of 2 players ever to average 30 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals while shooting better than 50% from the field in a single season. That list has 2 names on it, Jordan and Shai. We are witnessing one of the greatest ever seasons from a guard. People will mock his foul baiting and say he is a free throw merchant, but the reality is we are looking at the best player in the NBA. So how did Shai get to this level? How did an underrated Canadian transform into the best player in the league? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. A kid from Toronto. Nobody was betting on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was born in Toronto, Canada, and basketball was in his blood from day one. His father Vaughn introduced him to the sport, and his mother Charmaine, a former Antigua and Barbuda track star who competed in the 400 meters at the 1992 Olympics, gave him the athletic foundation to actually do something with it. That combination of elite genetics and genuine love for the game shaped everything that came after. His dad took him to Raptors games growing up. He fell in love watching Chris Bosh. He was out in the family driveway putting up shots on a garage-mounted basket in Hamilton, Ontario, before most kids his age even understood what a pick and roll was. The hunger was always there. But here is the thing about Shai's early basketball life that people always gloss over. He was not a prodigy. He was not the obvious guy. At 14 years old, Gilgeous-Alexander did not make his high school varsity team. Cut. Didn't make it. The same player who would one day be compared to Michael Jordan in a statistical category got told he was not good enough to play varsity as a teenager. Most kids fold after something like that. Shai got obsessed. He started working privately with Dwayne Washington, the coach and founder of a basketball development program called Up Play Canada. And Washington did not just run him through generic drills. He built Shai's entire game around the pick and roll with a deeply cerebral approach. 27 different drills specifically designed around ball screens and running the pick and roll. The emphasis was always on pace and reading the defense. Washington described it as mentally counting to 5 before you get into the screen, and by 4 you already have to know what you're doing. That kind of deliberate, systematic skill building at 13 and 14 years old is exactly why Shai can run the pick and roll at a level most NBA players never reach. He also had one more training resource that money cannot buy. His first cousin, Nikhil Alexander Walker, who was 2 months younger than Shai and grew up playing one-on-one against him constantly. 2 kids at nearly the same skill level pushing each other every single day. Shai described it as almost coming to blows because the competition was that real, and both of them ended up in the NBA. That is not a coincidence. High school, Kentucky, and a jumper that looked like a problem for their senior year of high school, both Shai and Nikhil transferred from Canada to Hamilton Heights Christian Academy in Tennessee because they recognized they needed better competition. And here is what is fascinating about that decision. If you had watched both of them at that point and had to pick the future NBA star, most people would have chosen Nikhil. Shai was still a pass-first guard with a genuinely shaky jump shot. He was not yet the player the world would come to know, but he averaged 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists per game at Hamilton Heights through sheer work ethic, constant shooting repetition, and a film study habit that was already ahead of his age. That performance was enough to earn him a scholarship to the University of Kentucky. He arrived in Lexington as a 4-star recruit, good but not elite in the recruiting rankings, and coach John Calipari compared his jump shot to Charles Barkley's golf swing. Both came with a hitch. Both were uncomfortable to look at. That is a shit thing to hear from your head coach when you're trying to become a professional basketball player. But Shai was used to people doubting him. He just kept working. He came off the bench for the first 15 games of the season, got his opportunity to start, never gave the spot back. By the middle of January, he was the clear leader of that Kentucky team, steadily improving his numbers across the board. His mother would call Coach Cal after big games, specifically asking him to stay hard on her son and keep him grounded. That detail says everything about the environment that shaped Shai. He saved his best college performance for the SEC tournament, dropping 29 points on 10 for 16 shooting with 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. In the NCAA tournament, he was the best player on the floor against Davidson and Buffalo, averaging 23 points and 6 assists to lead the Wildcats through the early rounds.
It's early on today. Gilgeous-Alexander spins, goes to the rack, score!
The Sweet 16 against Kansas State, he went just 2 for 10 from the field, and Kentucky lost. They focused everything on stopping him, and it worked that night. He finished the season averaging 14 points, 5 assists, and nearly 2 steals on 48% shooting from the field and 40% from 3. The jumper that Calipari mocked had been rebuilt into something legitimately reliable. The fundamentals Washington had drilled into him since he was a teenager were showing up on the biggest stage in college basketball. The draft, the trade, and landing somewhere nobody expected the the 2018 NBA draft was stacked, and even with everything Shai had proven, nobody considered him a sure thing in that class. He went 11th overall to the Charlotte Hornets, who immediately traded him to the LA Clippers for Miles Bridges and 2 future second-round picks. The Clippers got a future top 10 player in the league for Miles Bridges and a pair of second-rounders. Easily one of the most one-sided trades in that draft. He started his NBA career the same way he started every other level, on the bench. 9 games later, Coach Doc Rivers put him in the starting lineup. He never gave that spot back either. There is a pattern here with this guy, and it is called being impossible to keep down. 7 turnovers. That turnover number as a first-year player with a fairly high usage rate is quietly one of the most impressive rookie stats in that class. He was already among the league's elite from the mid-range as a 20-year-old, making 48% of his mid-range attempts. That is not a noob statistic. That is a weapon. Then Kawhi Leonard happened.
Willing to surrender what amounts to 5 first-round picks and 2 players. Unbelievable move on Kawhi Leonard.
Oklahoma City and the trade that made OKC look like geniuses. Kawhi Leonard decided he wanted to come to LA and team up with Paul George. The Clippers, desperate to make it happen, sent a genuinely absurd package to Oklahoma City for Paul George. 4 first-round picks, 4 unprotected future first-round picks, a protected future first-round pick, 2 pick swaps, Danilo Gallinari and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Clippers basically stripped their entire future to get PG-13. And then SGA went to OKC and immediately became one of the most important players on the team. Under the tutelage of Chris Paul, he blossomed in ways the Clippers never got to see. He averaged 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. He shot 58% from the field in clutch situations and led the entire NBA in clutch steals. His plus-minus in clutch minutes was second in the league. The jumper that coaches had questioned throughout his career had improved so dramatically that he was averaging almost a full point per isolation possession, which is an elite mark at any level. On January 13th, 2020, he recorded his first NBA triple-double, 20 points, 10 assists, and a career-high 20 rebounds. A 20-20-10 stat line. The second player in 30 years to do it after Russell Westbrook. The youngest ever. As a 21-year-old on a rebuilding team, Shai was already doing things most players never do in their entire career. OKC then decided to go full rebuild mode. They traded Chris Paul, Gallinari, and Dennis Schroeder for high draft picks. Young team, heavy tank, accumulate assets, and somehow Shai was making them win more games than they actually wanted to win for draft purposes. His talent was literally disrupting the tank. That is a genuinely fucking funny problem to have as a front office. Your guy is too good and it's costing you lottery picks. The leap nobody saw coming year 3 in Oklahoma City. Shai took over as the clear leader of a very young roster and averaged 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game while shooting 51% from the field and 42% from 3. Then he tore his foot after 35 games and was ruled out for the year. The tank they had been quietly trying to execute finally had some wiggle room. OKC got the 6th pick and took Josh Giddey. The following season, he played 56 games dealing with minor injuries throughout and improved to 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. The Thunder got the 2nd overall pick that year and took Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, then Jalen Williams at 12. GM Sam Presti was constructing something quietly dangerous, and Shai was the engine the whole machine was being built around.
They'll try to run a little bit of clock. Lepowski picks him up, 1-footed shot, it's a tough one!
Then the 2022-23 season happened and Shai just became a completely different kind of problem. The Thunder under coach Mark Daigneault played positionless basketball, versatile lineups. Everybody handles the ball, everybody switches on defense, high pace. And Shai is the perfect player for that system because he is the system. His long arms create chaos defensively. His handle is metronomic, not flashy like Kyrie or Steph, not explosive like Ja Morant or De'Aaron Fox, but precise and controlled and endlessly sustainable. 8 turnovers per game despite having the 7th highest usage rate in the entire league, shooting 51% from the field, 90% from the free throw line, first time ever in the top 10 in points in the paint for guards. Defenses had genuinely no answer for his penetration, and the most underrated part of his offensive arsenal is his shot fake. It is so convincing because his body position is identical whether he is actually shooting or faking. His head goes back, his body loads up, and the defender has no idea which one is real. By the time they figure it out, Shai has drawn the foul or stepped into a mid-range jumper. He finished 2nd in most improved player voting, made the All-Star team for the first time, first team All-NBA, 5th in MVP voting, and he did all of this while staying completely grounded, his mother's influence following him even at the highest level of the sport. OKC arrives and Shai becomes unstoppable. The 2023-24 season is when everything the Thunder had been building finally showed up on the scoreboard. Chet Holmgren back and healthy, Jalen Williams taking a massive leap, Giddey developing, role players bought in, Oklahoma City won 57 games, their best result in 10 years, and clinched the #1 seed in the Western Conference. Shai scored 30 or more points in 51 of the 75 games he played. Read that again, 51 games. He led the league in steals, led the league in free throws made, was top 5 in nearly every advanced metric that matters. 3rd in Clutch Player of the Year voting, 7th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, unanimous first team All-NBA, and 2nd in MVP voting behind Nikola Jokic. The Thunder won their first playoff series since 2016, eliminating the Pelicans in the first round. Then they ran into the Mavericks in the second round and lost the series. But it was not because of Shai. He was by far the best player in that series. The Mavericks beat OKC as a team. Nobody beat Shai. What comes next? The Thunder have the draft picks. They have the cap space. They have Chet Holmgren developing into a legitimate two-way force. They have Jalen Williams becoming one of the most efficient scorers in the league. They have a young, deep, defensively versatile roster that ranked first in the league in both steals and blocks. And sitting at the center of all of it is a 26-year-old who joined Michael Jordan in a statistical category that has existed for decades. The kid who got cut from his varsity team. The 4-star recruit whose jumper was compared to Charles Barkley's golf swing. The player the Clippers traded away for Paul George. The guy Oklahoma City got as a secondary piece in a transaction and built an entire franchise around. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been underestimated at every single level of his career, and at every single level, he has made the people doubting him look completely ridiculous. There is no reason to believe that stops now. If you liked watching this, drop a like and let me know in the comments. Is Shai already a top 5 player in the NBA, or do you think he still has another level to reach? Because personally, I think we are not even close to seeing the ceiling yet.